Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only Silver the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Kirby Superstar Ultra for the Nintendo DS. So last time we have basically just went through the continuation in Knightmare Ultra by exploring through the forms of the Great Cave Offensive segment, as well as the forms of Revenge of Mennonite segment. And today, this will be the last part of the forms of Knightmare Ultra, so that way we can able to conclude the entire mode while going through the final level in Knightmare Ultra, which appears to be Milky Way Wishes. And sure enough, we're able to actually just to go through planet to planet in the actual particular order this time, as opposed to, explore through any different kind of planets, whatever we choose. And eventually we're able to discover another boss fight, which is only exclusive to the DS remake, which, we'll talk more about that until whenever we get towards the end of this particular whole, Knightmare Ultra. And it's also worth noting for us the fact that I will able to take a break from uploading schedules of this for a while until, let's just say until when it gets to the point until the 4th of May, all the way up to 6th of May, that we would be able to wrap things up for this Let's Play. You know, just like any forms of how it does it in, sorry, excuse me, I just got a bell, so I do apologize for that. And, because, much like, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, I'm also able to actually just to save it up until May by that point. So, because other than the fact that there's not much else I can honestly try to talk about, apart from the fact that I believe that in terms of Milky Way Wishes, the final, level in terms of, Knightmare Ultra, this is going to take a long time because, or quite a while actually, because, obviously, we're going to be experiencing 6 different planets, or 7 different planets, I should say. And as a result, we could able to actually just to do, well, the usual stuff. Such as, for instance, exploring through Floria for the final time, and also same applies to the any different planets for that matter. So, yeah, that's how it goes basically. So, but again, there's no need to able to do a lot of exploration because obviously with the lack of copy instances deluxes that is usually scattered around in every planet. So we don't have to worry about just trying to actually explore from many different places around here. So, anyways, and there's something's worth noting for, this is the final time we're going to be seeing Twin Woods right here. And because of that though, we're actually getting very close towards the end of this Let's Play in particular. Even though I was originally going to able to expect to end this Let's Play off during the course of this entire month in January, but to be expected by that point is the fact that we'll have to wait until specifically for quite a while because obviously much like Kirby's Return to Dreamland, that I'm also able to take a break on the recording sessions on this game for a while. So and plus I'm also able to be prepared for the final game in the entire Kirby Superstar Ultra, as well as showing off some of these sub-games in particular during at some point in May. So hopefully we would be able to finish up this entire game during the course of this Let's Play. So, but I digress. So today's day is of course the 29th of January today, in this case in 2021, and we've only got about 3 more days to go until, well, what else? We get into February, which is next month. And, at least not to mention is the fact that we've only got about 2 more weeks left until Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury will be releasing on the Nintendo Switch. And I'm very, very excited for it. Even though I'm also able to give my, my first go at it first before I, start to be doing a Bowser's Fury mode, Let's Play later, during the course of, Super Mario 3D World alongside with it. But, either way though, it's kind of hard to explain because I know for the fact it has been about 2 days actually since I did manage to able to do a lot of commentary ever since since Wednesday when Trixie did manage to able to make her appearance for commentary wise, according to the forms of that particular, the previous uploading schedules as we know. So anyways though, basically it's the fact that we can able to expect to see how things is going to turn out to be, apart from the fact that until tomorrow that Sonic is going to be tackling through probably his least favorite board in Mario Party 3, which appears to be by the forms of Creepy Cavern, even though that he will point it out and during at some point in this weekend. So, and of course, as you can tell, this is the final time we're going to be dealing with Fatty Whale, especially noticeable with any other bosses for that part as well. Specifically, if you don't want to count the forms of, well, multiple replay, multiple repeats of, you know, Help with the Hero mode, that I weren't able to do those off screen, which I'm about to do that at some point once we, you know, done with the forms of, specifically, once we're done with, the True Arena, which, originally, I was gonna able to try to do that off screen, after we're done with the forms of Knightmare Ultra, but I might able to decide to do, the True Arena first, and, because, truth be told though, that, spoiler warning, the True Arena is actually the final game that is actually introduced in this remake, so, which will become stable until, you know, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, and also Kirby Triple Deluxe, Kirby Planet Robobot, and especially noticeable with the highest difficulty setting in, you know, the ultimate choice. So, yeah, that's one of the pointings out. So, anyway, let's go ahead and explore through Sky High, where, unfortunately, we have to deal with those very annoying, door labyrinthy kind of segments like these. Even though I wasn't terribly fond of it to begin with, per se, but usually that's how it goes for my part, so... Oh jeez, I'm almost gonna die right there. But thankfully we got ourselves our healing option right here, so that way we can able to heal ourselves for that some specific points worth noting for. And we're about to take on the forms of, well, what else? Krakow for, oh no, I think it's like Krakow. That, basically, that this will be the last time we're going to be fighting against with Krakow, as in this color variation. Because, again, whenever we get onto the forms of the True Arena, which is the final game in this game, we will able to come across into Krakow's Revenge until for later, because, well, obviously I wasn't exactly ready for that yet, first of all, and, also I do need to get a lot of practices when it comes to the forms of... Oh, really? I just got owned by that sleepy enemy twice. Or maybe 3, or maybe more, but oh well. Oh boy, this is where games starts to get ridiculously harder for Meta Knightmare Ultra. I think the hardest part about this game mode is, of course, Milky Way Wishes, because there are a few times though that if you think you're able to try, like, let's just say for example, in the Hot Beat planet, basically, you're gonna have to able to dodge a lot of those, fire and stuff like that, or even lava as a result, and, basically with Meta Knight's, continuous flapping for his wings, sometimes I honestly felt like I was almost lose control of myself sometimes. But then again though, it doesn't seem to able to bother me at all for the sake of the forms of Meta Knight's controls in this game. But it sure does feel a little bit more versatile compared to the forms of how it does it in, still, in terms of the forms of the comparison to Knightmare and Dreamland counterparts in the one of those extra modes in the Kirby's Adventure remake. But God knows of what the actual the next thing that Nintendo could possibly try to remake next. Like obviously they've already remade well, Spring Breeze from the likes of, well, they obviously remade, Kirby's Dream Land, part of the forms of Spring Breeze on Superstar compilations, despite it actually cuts out, you know, one of those, bosses that was originally planned for, Kirby's Dream Land, which it did already first exist, but either way, though, I have no idea why I'm just explaining things so gibberishly, as a matter of fact, because, although, obviously, that Kirby's Adventure remake does exist on the Game Boy Advance by the forms of Knightmare and Dreamland, and of course, Kirby Superstar Ultra for the DS usually exists. So I don't know what they're about to be doing next in terms of Kirby remakes, like, let's just say one for the Switch or something, but then again, though, we'll find that out at some point when it gets to the majority of, you know, let's just say in 2021, or potentially in the future in 2022. So, anyways, let's go for this door. And sure enough, we were able to come across into, well, Chameleon Leo, which is the final time we're going to be dealing with this chameleon boss, and hopefully he'll be down and he'll be toasted by then. So, as long as you would need to be very careful with the forms of those specific amount of attacks, which that might be the only challenging part about this particular fight though sometimes. Even if you're not paying attention to that whatsoever, then you're probably gonna get hit a lot. So, anyways, there he goes, Chameleon Leo, which, again, farewell to him, because that way we're able to actually see him for last time, so... Anyways, let's move on to the next planet, which is of course Caverus, which, self-explanatory if you manage to know the exact route that we can take, so, yeah, not much else to talk about, because aside from the fact that we could possibly try to able to get, you know, more stuff along the way, and potentially speaking is the fact that I'm actually very curious to see what's going to be up next for Nintendo after the releasing on Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Apart from the fact that, as far as what Sonic has mentioned about this countless amount of times, ever since in his Let's Play of Mario Party 3, there's gonna be a massive rumor about the fact that with Pokemon Diamond and Pearl is getting a remake for the Switch, which that'll make the actual Pokemon fans quite happy about it. And at least I've actually heard about the original game on the DS, even though despite the fact that the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection is now dead all in all, ever since in 2014. So if the actual game itself looks a lot more better, or even make it a little bit more nicer as far as visual standpoints goes, then I probably might try to get it, even though that usually I'm not a huge Pokemon fanatic per se still, but at least I'm still excited for, you know, new Pokemon Snap, when it's going to come out during at some point in the 30th of April in this year specifically. Now, for what I've heard about the forms of the actual listing so far, in terms of the Pokemon stuff you can able to actually just take a photograph in. So far they only got about 200 so far out of like 800 or more Pokemon so far, which hopefully we'll able to actually see more info about the forms of the amount of turtles we can get for the amount of like, you know, everything that resides. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. And of course, if you couldn't tell, this is the final time we're going to be doing up with Wham Bam Rock, because eventually we were able to actually just try to fight against with Wham Bam Jewel at some point during the course of the True Arena at some point, so that might be expecting to see that coming. So either way though, we'll just have to dodge that particular hand slam attack, and boom, he's done. Not too shabby, not too difficult either, as long as you were able to utilize the Mech Tornado, so yeah, awesome sauce. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to Mech Kai, which appears to be the machine planet. So, as to be expected, we're going to be fighting against with the Heavy Lobster again, with the silver color variation. And eventually, whenever we get onto the Half Moon, then basically we would be able to... Ah, really? I was gonna hopefully try to get that one up, but who never needs that anyway, because I already got like, let's just say 22 extra lives, so yeah, I was gonna able to just try to focusing on that, but anyway. Yeah, aside from the fact that we can able to actually just fight against with Heavy Lobster for the final time in this whole entire Let's Play, and also same applies to the computer virus, and that's pretty much how this goes basically. So either way though, we'll just try to go ahead and be very careful not to screw ourselves at this point, even though again it does not need to require the ridiculous amount of exploration. Well, the only thing you can only get if you're trying to do exploration for most of your time, basically it's just food, and that's pretty much about it. So yeah, it's not much right to home about for this point, honestly. Alright, aside from the fact that if you somehow manage to completely done with the forms of Meta Knightmare Ultra, then you would be able to actually get yourselves one of those cool unlockables, which, you know, do you remember the forms of when if you first time able to actually complete it, the normal arena, basically you were able to unlock the Megaton Hammer, or Megaton Punch, I like to say, and, as a matter of fact, that, there was that one particular familiar sub-game that has been missing so far. which, if you remember from the likes of Kirby Superstar, the original game, that will have to be by the forms of Samurai Kirby, which, hopefully, once we've able to actually completely done with this particular game mode, then sure enough, we'll able to actually just well, unlock Samurai Kirby, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, that should be pretty surprising. And, well, spoiler warning for those who have not seen this Let's Play just yet, but just want to point things out for the actual, of what's going to be up next in terms of everything else for that resides. But anyway, so let's just go up, and hopefully we'll come across into that a very dead block right there, or the bomb block is usually over there, even though it only contains like 1-ups and maximum, well, there's no maximum tomato in this particular mode, so yeah, because obviously Meta Knight, he's the only one managed to able to just get the healing option straight away, so anyways, let's go ahead and deal with this particular mini boss right here. In fact, this will be the final time we're going to be dealing with some of those mini boss fights every once in a while, because again, whenever we get onto the forms of the final game mode of this whole entire game, which is of course the you know, the true arena and all that jazz, basically we would be able to just come across into those familiar mid-bosses based off from Revenge of the King mode, which is of course King Dedede after all. So anyways, let's get some more extra lives, including some more food for healing, and trying to get onto the previous floor and trying to take down Bonkers, and hopefully we would be able to just, well, proceed. And of course trying to take down the forms of Heavy Lobster for the final time. And once again, I always attempt to get myself my huge surprise attack right there. That's inconsistent sometimes, but either way though, it's usually kind of my fault for able to not pay attention to that attack, but oh well, no big deal, but at least we can able to actually strike him from behind, even though he will able to turn around eventually, so yeah, that makes it pretty obvious for that standard stuff though, really. So anyways, let's go ahead and, oh, so close to finish him off. Okay, come on. Hopefully you'll be down by then. Come on. There he goes. Thank you, Blade Knight, for able to actually just, well, deal with the final blow against with that Heavy Lobster there. Anyways, now let's move on to the final planet before we move on to the final part, or the final segment, in terms of, you know, Meta Knightmare Ultra, which appears to be by the forms of Nuva. But now we need to go through the final planet, which is of course Half Moon. And before we continue things on from here, we'll go ahead and just, well, went through breezily breeze for this particular stage. And let's go double check this in here, nothing else from here, so we'll just carry on going forward. So surprisingly enough, this actually took me about 14 or so minutes for the sake of this entire Milky Way Wishes so far, which is, you know, pretty obvious stuff, because obviously, much like although unlike the forms of the Great Cape Offensive, it doesn't take me that long, but the Milky Way Wishes will take a lot longer. Probably it's because of how the fact that, well, there wasn't any kind of planets that you can able to obviously just breezily win through this. Unlike the forms of the old tower, that you can simply just continue on with the next part, and that's all there is to know. But in here though, you have to go through every single planet. The only planet exception, which is of course the secret area, you know, with the forms of that flashing star segment, whenever you manage to able to find yourselves the copy ability, after when you're able to actually get that copy Essence Deluxe, so yeah, that might be some consumption for this throughout. So anyways, let's go ahead and take down these kinds of mini bosses here, and hopefully we would be able to actually just to keep our points, or orbs points, so that way we can able to save Mech Tornado for later, because after we're done with this particular planet, then we can move on to the forms of the coolest boss in the game, I'm not gonna lie, and it's also the first introduction into the forms of those very powerful boss in the whole entire Kirby series, as a matter of fact, that we'll point it out whenever we get into it, so. Although, if you guys following through our Let's Play of, you know, Kirby Superstar, oh no, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, basically, you know the actual boss called Galactic Knight? Basically, well, I'll talk more about it until then, so either way though, let's go ahead and, deal with the computer virus for the final time for the sake of this Let's Play, and sure enough, we can able to actually decide to take down the magician. Apparently I got that name wrong, by the way, for the likes of the forms of, well, ever since in the last video, because obviously, because I was busy talking to Trixie recently during the forms of, well, ever since on Wednesday. Because of that, though, I accidentally called this particular first part of the computer virus named the Wizard, but it was actually a magician, so yeah, apologize for that, folks. I must admit that I apologize. But anyways, let's go ahead and take down this evil knight for the final time, and eventually the great mighty dragon, so that way we would be able to take those bosses down for reals, and hopefully we should be able to actually accomplish the forms of, well, what else? Half Moon. Aside from all that stuff, though, that one thing I already mentioned about this before, that the reason being that the reason why we're able to take a break on this game for a while until whenever we return back into this game and during at some point on, well, May the 4th, this is pretty obvious because there are some more Let's Plays coming up, such as, for instance, we haven't exactly completely done with Knight's Journey of Dreams yet. And also, I think, as was what Piglet has already established that earlier, that we might be able to do a Warrior Land marathon, which that'll be exciting because technically we were supposed to be able to start things off with Warrior Land's The Shake Dimension, but unfortunately that Let's Play didn't turn out so well at the end for our first attempt for that particular Let's Play, and I thought to myself, nah, we'll try this again, but this time with a different twist, mainly due to the marathon that we can able to do, because that'll be a lot more fun, especially with the Warrior Wish stuff, which I'm also going to be planning to do as well, but for now, we're just going to mainly focusing on the Warrior Land series first off, so either way though, we somehow managed to complete it, the Half Moon level, so yeah, everything goes all the ends well, huh? So anyway, let's just go ahead and leave and say goodbye to the computer virus, because since we've done with that, and now let's go ahead and fly all the way up to outer space, and just like the forms of the normal Milky Way Wishes, we somehow got all 7 rainbow stars and combined those in together, and that will create a Nuva, galactic Nuva. Ready? I will grant you one wish. My one wish is to become powerful, so I wish to fight the greatest warrior in the galaxy. Okay. Now, you will now fight a warrior who has sealed away for fear his power was too great. I will now summon this great warrior once more. 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah, I apologize for that awkward lack of audio in this particular scene, just because, again, this runs on the emulator, so I'll blame on that. But anyways, this is where we have ourselves our first introduction into Galactic Knight, which appears to be a much more powerful knight. So, yeah, this entire boss fight is pretty tricky and difficult. But as long as you were able to actually utilize these 4 different kinds of abilities for Meta Knight, mainly with the Mech Tornado that you saw, that way you can able to actually deal with, well, I would say a little bit of damage. Yeah, just only a little bit of damage. And also because of this though, he actually has a lot of defense, so yeah, just be very careful not to wreck yourselves too much, apart from those little enemy drops here and there. But luckily you can able to actually just to still grind those more orbs, so that way you can able to actually use the Mech Tornado as much as you want. So but anyway, and also try your best to able to block, because that way if you do block very well, then you won't able to actually get damage as much. So, and even then though, it deals a ridiculous amount of damage if you're not paying attention to that. But luckily we got ourselves the healing item, or the healing option there, so that way we can able to heal ourselves if we manage to able to get hit multiple times. But usually this fight is pretty tough, at least as far as I'm consuming for that anyway. Alright, so we just have to block ourselves before everything else goes all wrong and fine and dandy and all that stuff. And it seems to be more specifically he's almost down, so even I know expecting of such. And I've no idea why I just get rid of my partner companion for my knight, but at least I can able to call out another knight, which actually I'm also able to just unleash the Blade Knight, and sure enough, we'll try to able to finish him off by, well, just do a massive sword sweep, and I think that pretty much takes care of the forms of Galactic Knight. And he goes all over the place, as you saw. And once he's had enough of that, he just got his wings exploded. And that's pretty much it in terms of Meta Knightmare Ultra. A very nice little run to able to go through, even though that Milky Way Wishes is definitely the hardest of the 5 levels, but hey, at least I did manage to done it no problem. So once again, much like the Milky Way Wishes, you're still able to get yourselves the end kind of text in a cinematic cutscene, and also at the end of that particular playthrough, it tells you how many time you're able to spend on. Like, I've almost spent about an hour to able to finish this entire playthrough, and sure enough, the Milky Way Wishes segment will probably take me about 20 minutes, which is actually kind of like longish kind of run through, but hey. And on the final scene, basically Meta Knight to somehow just see the horizon of that particular dreamland, and just to see if the dreamland stuff is once again like nice, fine and dandy, and all that jazz. And after that though, it takes you to the credit sequence, which unfortunately I'm gonna have to skip, because I blame on the emulator, because it tends to lag every now and then. So, but nonetheless, it plays out pretty much exactly the same as Milky Way Wishes though. And once you're able to complete that mode, you're able to unlock 2 things, which is Flying Meta Knight on the Theater mode, as well as Samurai Kirby, the nostalgic sub-game is now unlocked. And also, as you can see on the bottom screen portion, you now finally unlock the final game, which appears to be the True Arena. So this might be pretty challenging, but sure enough, I will try to able to actually just to do this kind of challenge, but basically it's the fact that we're able to actually just to, well, discuss more about that whenever we're able to get into the final game mode. So, with all that being said though, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Kirby Superstar Ultra. Is that we're going to be hit on to the True Arena, the final game in the entire game for Kirby Superstar Ultra. And this appears to be one of the hardest games of the bunch, because as you can see, 7-star difficulty. So yeah, best of luck for me. So I'll see you guys until on May the 4th. Later fellas.